So, all right, everyone, Blue Acres here. We're here with Mr. Russell Bean, B-E-A-N, like the vegetable. And you are, let's tell us a little bit about what you do.
Um, I'm in Eufaula, Alabama, which is live on a 50,000 acre lake that backs into 50,000 acres of lake that is our property is on, which was my wife's family farm. It's been in our family for over 125 years. And so what we did is as a kid, I grew up working on a farm. Actually, I learned how to drive from a tractor. That's how I learned to drive on a tractor. And I was a young teenager. And so I worked for this gentleman named Mr. Waits. Because I love to fish, I would have worked for him for free. But he had cows, chickens, vegetables. We used manure. He sold horses. And so we used the cow manure and the horses. That's what we used for the farming. And so, of course, I got off and got into business. I was going to be an educator, but finally I got into business and capitalism, and that kind of got me. I said, well, the education side of it is not going to really teach me make the kind of money that I wanted to make. Just to be honest. Yeah. And so, of course, I'm a real estate appraiser for over 20 years. I'm a certified real estate appraiser. I'm an auctioneer for over 30 years. I'm a paralegal in real estate and litigation. Plus, I have my real estate license as well. My wife and I, we work together. I've been married 43 years and 2 months. And my wife and I have worked together since day one that we worked together. We've literally had over 100 businesses that we've done, business ventures and different things we've done. Not all of them made it. Some of them made it. Some of them didn't make it. Some of them we were ahead of our time. And so, but we have 5 right now that are doing very well for us that we're kind of working. And farming is into one of the things that we got into. And we traveled around to find out what we wanted to do in the farm, how we would do the land, how we would do regenerative growing of the properties, how to maintain it, how to keep healthy soils, all of those things, and not pollute what we have, to keep that nature of what God has made in that. And so that's what we've been doing. And so now we're sharing that information with people all across the United States.
Wow, this is incredible. And we were just talking a little bit before about what organic means now in terms of business, capitalism, what it's turned into. But what is when you say organic, what are you actually talking about? So for me, I know it has to more so do with molecular structure. So when you say organic, what does that mean to you versus what it means today?
Okay. My father-in-law, they were doing organic back that time. It wasn't a word, okay? They didn't use it. It was a natural thing that farmers did, using horse manure, cow manure, chicken manure, pig manure, or taking plants and turning them back into the soil, and utilize not using today's chemicals, okay, that are synthesized chemicals, using the natural what the animals gave back and put those back into it in its nature. So now we have this what we call organic situation. You go through the federal government. If you're going to use certified, you've got to get certified with them and pay their fee. And so you have Armory, which give you all of those guidelines and the different chemicals that they have approved to use. But do you know just because we're today saying that it's organic doesn't mean that it's safe. Okay, and so people get it kind of, oh, it's organic, I'm gonna get it, it's good. Wait, hold up just a minute. You don't know what the other person has done. Have they gone through the proper procedures of applying whatever they're applying, harvesting when they need to harvest? Did they wait so we don't get into pathogens and things like that? Because we have a lot of foodborne diseases and things that happen today. And so we want to eliminate that. So that organic, what I'm talking about, is not the organic that the government is talking about, or so-called what they're saying today. It's a different tradition.
Wow. So how many years of combined experience between you and your wife?
Well, I've been married almost 43 years. So we've owned, like I said, a lot of different businesses, and we've learned a lot of things between that. So between what we've done in such our short life, my wife is 70, I'm 68. That's still a short life. But what we've gathered in that time, and I told my daughter this, what we know won't fill a thimble, but it's more than what you know because we have more time on our side and we've applied ourselves for where we're going, but we're still learning. And so, from getting information from my father-in-law and everything that lived to be 96, and so other family members that have lived over 100 years, that we were able to apply some of that information and get that from them. So really, it's more than a century of information that we've gathered.
And this legacy land, you said 100. It's been in your family for 125 years that you can document. 125 years. So it's interesting today speaking to indigenous farmers. Society says black, but what we've been talking about as well. The American Indian. There's an organization that supports American Indians here today, and I just thought that was so beautiful because we're talking about a different type of connection to the land. Even 125 years of consistent ownership, it tells a different story, and it gives us a different perspective than what we've been taught about who we are and our contributions to the land. But that's amazing to me. 125 years is a long time, right? And especially for a family that is now sharing resources. I started listening to podcasts about farmers, and a lot of what comes up is how is land passed down, or preparing things in a certain way where it can simply be passed down. There's a story where a young man, he's really active when it comes to the land, but even more so than his dad, who he was going to receive the land from his grandparents. His grandparents are still living, operating the land, but he took an interest to it. So they're discussing, hey, maybe we just like give him a certain equity in it and interest because he's showing that natural interest in it, and he's actually putting the work in. So a lot of times, and these weren't people that these weren't our people. So now talking to someone who has had land passed down for that long, that's just a beautiful perspective. And I hope everybody out there is inspired by that, and also by the length and the quality of his marriage, because in our communities, our families are something that have been targeted. And you can probably say a lot of your success has to do with you and your wife. That's your queen. You guys are locked in, right? They're locked in. So those are not two separate conversations. It's all in the same conversation for a reason, because as we work on ourselves as individuals, as we strengthen our family structures, we're going to be able to do great things like you've done, like your ancestors have done, because there's a focus on the family and being intentional about rebuilding what society has tried to destroy for so long.
You're talking about families and parents. Jewell's parents were married for more than 60 years. My parents were married for more than 50 years. I have some other family members that's been married for more than 60 years. And we're fortunate that we all came up in a two-parent family home. I understand that doesn't happen because situations happen, divorces happen, people die, different things happen. But it was fortunate that all of my 7 siblings and I, we came up through a two-parent family. And through my wife's family, which were about 9, came up through a two-parent family as well that was able to be there. So we were able to glean and get that information from our parents and learn from them and sit at the feet of our elders to learn that information. So I think that's important.
See, the things that he's talking about, we have this issue right now with gender wars. And I think it's actually being exposed for what it is. And I think a lot of young people and people across many different age groups are seeing how ridiculous it is, and even why that information is being pushed, or why that content is being pushed so heavily. Because again, all of these great things, what do they say? You can get there fast on your own, right? But basically, if you want to do it better, you need partnership, whether that's your community and or your life partner or your spouse. So man, my parents have over 40 years, so I come from that as well, and that's why I know like how important it is. But yeah, we have to do the work. We have to seek counsel from our elders. There's nothing wrong with going and getting like formal marriage counseling, for example, but even talking to elders like this, he's an OG. He's got the experience. And when you see him and his wife together, it's cool. It's sparks lighting up. I can feel the love and the energy and the life just emitting from you all. So being around that, being intentional about being in environments where you can come and learn things, whether it's about what a strong family looks like, whether it's about agriculture, whether it's about our connection to the land. All of these things are very interwoven. And, we have to be more intentional about seeking counsel from our elders, because it matters. And the elders who are willing and are not just, because some people have a negative experience and that's all they're going to give you. But we can still learn from that. We can still learn from that. But it's very important to meet with elders like this who are, I could tell he's living and enjoying life. You have a quality life. And I'm sure you've had a lot of challenges and different things that you've experienced, but you have a support system and a community to help you through that.
I'm glad you said that. We've gone through the quantity, the big houses, the cars, and I'm not saying this is an experience and learn from, but as you get older and you get in the time that you're looking at, don't have as many years. I hope that I do, but as I had in the past. Okay, so just think about it. Live to be 100, still maybe 40 years or 30 years or whatever. That's still a short period of time. Even if someone has lived 100 years, to me, it's a short period of time when compared to back when people were living that was 500 years old, 700 years old, 809. You follow me? Yeah. So what I also wanted to say with this part, even though you have single parents, because I didn't want to bring that out, single dads, single moms, they've done great jobs with what they could do. It was a very, very much challenge, and I have to really commend them on that. But if they will bring in a someone that could maybe be an uncle or nephew or cousin or someone that's older to give that mentorship, I think we're kind of missing it, so that they're not just struggling by themselves. Right. And that is important that we be able to do that. Sometimes it may not be a family member, it may be someone else that or a friend or somebody with integrity. Yes. With integrity and have those things. And so that is important.
Man, this has been impactful. As you guys can see, it's like we can't even begin to have a wealth conversation without talking about the power of family. That's what I'm learning, right? Like community is wealth, and a community with integrity is wealth, right? People who are intentional about actually loving their neighbor, looking out for their neighbor, finding a good life partner, like all of these things are connected to wealth. I read a book one time called The Millionaire Mind. Yes. And it talks about it actually talks about how millionaires, like first generation millionaires, and how people who maybe come into money, they're born into it, but how they find their spouse, the type of places they go and they meet their spouse, or even like how insistent they are on not separating, on not divorcing, because they realize in many ways when you're sharing a community, everybody that she knows, right? You're going to the same places, so it could just shatter the foundation of everything that you're doing. The family, if you have kids, business, your net worth is severely affected. But it's not just your monetary net worth, it's also energetic. It's also your relationships with people. So there are incentives to staying together, and I think it's important that we think about those things and also build things together that are bigger than just you or me as individuals, but like with your spouse, with your community, building things that are bigger than just you as individuals, because it is even more reason when the going gets tough, right? When you have those days where you can't stand each other, you're remembering, hey, look, our union is more than just. It's not just emotion. There are things that we're building that are going to impact our community and the people in it for generations.
I wanted to say that. I'm glad you said that. No marriage is perfect, and we're individuals. Heck, I get upset with myself at times and doing things with myself, and so it's hard enough to deal with an individual, and then when you bring someone else in. So that's why I like being equally yoked, like-minded, having those things with it. But even in a situation with my wife or anything, when we had a disagreement or things we learned that, how can we come to a solution? Things we're not going to agree on everything. That's not realistic to think that we are, And so, but I never used the word divorce with my wife. I never called that out, and I never said that word. I never said that. Hey, we're going to get a divorce. I never used that. I refused to do that. In other words, I didn't want to put that in the atmosphere, in the air itself, to work against me. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to work this out. We don't like it. We'll go to our corners and we'll come back and do what we need to do.
So you notice he said something about you didn't want to use certain words to put them in the atmosphere. So I've been telling people lately, have you seen the movie The Matrix or the series? Yeah. Okay, so when we think about The Matrix, some people say, oh, I'm reading this, I'm reading that, I'm tapped in with this information, and they're like, I'm getting out of the Matrix. But if you think of what a Matrix actually is, the Matrix, the matriarch, that's the mother. So the issue is not the matrix that we're in, it is the code that has been put on that matrix that has harmed the mother. The same way the physical earth is being harmed, our minds, the way that we go about life, the perspectives, our self-talk, how we view ourselves, a lot of negative things maybe in programming or music or things on TV content has fed into how we view ourselves, how we view family, how we view the woman, and how we even view the world that we're in. So it's not about getting in the matrix, matriarch. It is about learning to respect that once again and choosing and organizing in ways that we are rewriting the script. We are moving with authority, which means to be an author, right? So we're moving with authority, and we're not letting anybody else, take our freedom or the freedom of the people in our community, but we're saying, hey, what can we do every day to create our own freedom, to have a good relationship with the earth, to live in a way that is organic, and we're not just surrounding ourselves with artificial things and therefore almost becoming like an artificial being. Like we're so attached to the phone and emotions and everything that's going on the screen that sometimes we forget what's going on right in front of us. So when we talk about the matrix or the matriarch or the mother or the land, the mother earth, it is about making sure that we're just intentional about writing the story right this time, not getting out of it, because that's escapism. That's escapism. We want to show up and do what we need to do. So
I wanted to say this too. I'm more optimistic in my life now than I've ever been. And people look at it, and this is my mindset, and I've been an optimistic person all my life. But not that know about the issues and the things, and bury my head in the sand. Address those issues, pick my battles, on where they are, go where those injustices are, work with them. How can we work with those things? Because if you're so pessimistic, you will miss the opportunities. You can't see the opportunities being negative and being pessimistic about it, because there's opportunities already around you. The opportunity for you and us to meet today, to stop when I saw the sign and say, I could just walked on past and gone on. Man, I'm glad I didn't. What we were able to get today and talk today about, and the information and what I plan on doing with you in the future, is just fantastic because of what we need. So that's what I'm talking about. So by me being here for optimism, now I've seen an opportunity.
yeah, and I want you guys to know, just to chime in on what he's saying, I've been speaking this into existence for at least weeks, I would say months, because I'm like, I need to connect with indigenous farmers, black farmers. I need to connect because, like I grew up around agriculture. There was a point when I was a kid, I didn't actually like being outside like that. I didn't like it. But then it wasn't until I started living in the city that I'm like, I couldn't wait to get back to that. And now I'm here and working on some land development projects. And I'm like, I have land. There's farmers who are being displaced from land. I have a solution to their issue. I need to make sure I'm connecting with those people, because I could just be thinking about it. I could get in my head, oh, imposter syndrome, I'm not them. What if they're like, oh, who are you? You know what I mean? No, but it's like, okay, what can I do that will add value? If we all approach each other with that mindset, and it's not all monetary or resource wise, it could just be energetically. Hey, how you doing? Man, I like what you got on today. You looking good. You know what I'm saying? That you're adding value. Them being in your space and in your aura field, now they're picking up good energy. It's good for the mind, it's good for the body, and even just that mindset, I think, is going to drive us forward as a community in ways that we're never going to regress back to some of the things that we've experienced. So yeah, man.
It's been really a pleasure. I really appreciate you taking the time, stopping, talking with me, seeing a young man doing what you do. It makes my heart really jump in that and doing it, because you are our next generation, and where we are and what we're doing, where we need to go. And man, I wish I've known what 40 years ago. But I thank God for what I have today and meeting you today, because time is never too late. It's never too late.
All right, y'all. You heard it from him. All right, everybody. So we want to make sure that we highlight this business. This movement is more than just a business. It's a movement. So we're going to have Mr. Russell tell us a little bit about what he does at the Bean Foundation, right? The Bean Foundation Incorporated. So yeah, please tell us a little bit about what you do and what you're excited about that you're working on right now.
At the Bean Foundation, we do a lot of things. We talk about so much because of our expertise and that what we have and what we've been doing. But one of the things that we're working on now is that we've got 3 books that are out. We were in Washington, D.C. last year, November of last year. There were about 2,500 people there that Joshua Giles Ministries invited us up to do, and there were about 10,000 people online. And so we came back after being there excited about so many people that want to get back to the land, that own land, or that maybe move north and want to come back to the land that that they haven't done anything with. And they were excited about it. And so we felt led to write a book. My daughter wrote one on spirituality, bringing in the line of what food, feeding yourself, how you could do that, and feeding the soul, and going through those things. And then the other thing is my wife is a nutritionist, so she wrote a book on recipes that you can that's nutrition, that give food nutrient dense food, and that you can use from around your home or what you grow, or even go out in the woods and find these edibles that you can create and make recipes with. She did that. And then what I did is the book on food shortages during famine, because we were saying like right now, with the government shutdown, people talking about the SNAP and all those things. Well, what if you have been growing some of your own food and have some available? You really wouldn't be in a panic. And I don't care if you're living in urban area or in the inner city, because you could grow food anywhere. I can teach you to grow the food anywhere.
So can you talk a little bit about what you're doing as far as homesteading, but also what you're doing with the more urban agriculture and bridging the gap for people, kind of meeting people where they're at? Because you talked about the homesteading, two different things, right, but you're kind of serving both demographics here.
That's correct. On the homesteading, that people want to go back, as I mentioned, go back to the land that they have, or they want to purchase land. You don't need a ton of land to do homesteading.
How many acres would you say?
Look, you could do that on a quarter of an acre. A quarter of an acre, you could grow more food than you could possibly eat yourself. You would have to give it to a food bank. Matter of fact, say square footage, 2,000 square feet, or a lot, or just a plot. You don't need a bunch of land to do it. It's good to have it. You can have those things. I'm not saying not go get it or have it. Get as much land as you can get, and that you can have. But you can start anywhere.